everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today I have with us. He is a composer from Italy, and he has, done the scores for many indie horror flicks. I have today with us Alberto Massoni. Alberto, welcome to the Horror Room.
Hi guys, welcome to you, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's
tonight.
a pleasure having. It's a pleasure having you on, my friend.
For the opportunity to be here. Really, really thank you, Bruce.
It's a pleasure, my friend. It's a pleasure. So tell us a little bit. So I mean, you've been a composer, especially in indie horror. Tell us a little bit about how did you get into that scene, starting off.
Allora, I have started to compose music for movie some years ago. In particular, I burn like a guitar player and a metal rock music guitar player and also progressive music. I really love Dream Theater and Pink Floyd and Steve Vai, Satriani and company.
Mm-hmm.
I have also really love all soundtrack music because I think that there are a lot of possibility in to compose music for a movie because you can put the electronic, the orchestra, you can experiment some different sound and mood, and it's amazing the creativity that you can put in the soundtrack. In particular, for the horror movie, I have started because I have contacted here in Italy some director, independent, that I know that they were written some movie horror, and I proposed my music, and they accepted. So I have started in that kind of motive, but and I have done like in Italy, like I think 9-10 independent movie, and it was really great. The only thing that every time is really sometimes not so good is that in the independent movie the budget are really cheap. Yes. Not for me, not for the entire movie. And it's bad because I have seen a lot of directors with a really good idea, but there is no budget for to put together all the entire movie. And that is really is a fucked up. Sorry for the name, but because I have seen that all the big budget go always for the big movie where they spend a lot of money, but sometimes the product at the end is not so good. And this is why you spend $60 million for a movie that is without a real good story, like I don't know, like the blockbuster movie. They cost million, but at the end, story, etc., are really poor, and this is bad for the movie because I really see a lot of good director also in Great Britain, where I have worked with a couple of director that has really great idea, but the budget are always really cheap. So for the FX and the montage and the editing, it's always a problem to finish a movie.
But I can definitely imagine. And one thing or two about whether it be indie or even big one name or whatever genre, especially horror and action, right? Those two.
Yes.
The soundtrack, the score is so important. I mean, I think about when it comes to horror, the original 1979, 1979 Halloween, and John Carpenter's score on that movie, like that put you in the mood to be scared. I mean, that, like, you watch a good horror movie with an amazing score, it has you on pins and needles before anything even comes out.
Yes, really. It was really, really amazing. That kind of soundtrack are incredible because with two notes, they have created everything.
Yes.
Suspense, horror, and it was put in the right scene, in the right moment. And that is amazing. It's really, really crazy. And now, the other thing that I don't really like too much is that I see that a lot of directors use the library music. They go to the library with the 2000 songs and they say, okay, I take this. And for me, it's not good, but also because I think that every kind of movie need a particular soundtrack.
It does.
One song that I write for a movie, I didn't never use for another movie because I have write for that kind of atmosphere, of story, etc. And I don't like this kind of trend. So take music from library and put here in this scene I put this. That is another thing that I really don't like. But I can understand that the director sometimes have no budget. So
yes.
But I also think that every director can speak with the composer and try to find some connection. Sometimes happen to work also for free, but because I really believe in that project, so I says, okay, for me no problem if there is no budget, but I like your story, I like your project, so let's go to work.
Because I've watched some independent horror movies, especially where you can tell that they're using the royalty-free music as background music, and a lot of times it doesn't align with what's going on in the fucking scene. Like, you know, there's a killer in the house and there's some fucking friendly music going on, and you're like, okay, this does not even go. And as a viewer, it completely distracts you from the actual whatever is going on in the movie. And you're like, well, this music does not go with what's going on in this fucking scene.
Yes, that is another problem, because sometimes in some scene you must synchronize a perfectly music with the scene, and sometimes if you took a royalty-free music, is not sync with that scene of the movie. And you say, but why? Wait a minute, there is something that not is right.
Yeah. It's just an error, and I'm not a movie creator, but I'm a watcher. I'm a huge movie connoisseur, and I'm telling you, as a watcher and someone who watches a lot of indie movies, it's like, it distracts you from whatever message you're trying to show in that scene or whatever. As an audience watcher, it knocks you out. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like, huh? Like, this does not go with, you know what I mean? They're playing kids movie, and somebody's getting murdered, and you're like, huh? This does not go with this. And but like, part of me actually thinks, like, are they doing this to fucking distract you, or is it because it's a low budget movie and this is the only score they could get for the scene?
Sometimes it's because there is no budget, so the director prefer take some royalty free, but it's important try to understand that music is really important for a movie. It could be a comedy, a drama, an horror movie. I work also for other kind of movie, like drama and comedy and fantasy. But music must be connected to the movie. It must be sometimes like a real character.
It's part of the story.
Yes. And the other thing that I sometimes I see in the movie that is like disappear the main theme.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some like a lot of songs put together for the movie. But I like when I write a score to compose a particular main theme that go on from the beginning to the movie to the end, like Halloween or Friday 13 or Nightmare or also Saw or The Exorcist, where you sometimes listen the main theme.
Yes. But something's about to go on. Like, so I recently watched a classic, The Crow from the 90s. I rewatched it. I haven't seen it since the 90s, and I rewatched it because it was on Amazon or something for free. And like, I forgot how good that fucking movie is, but I forgot how good the fucking soundtrack and the score is. And anytime The Crow, you know when The Crow's about to fuck somebody up, because that 9 Inch Nails riff goes on. Dan, 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 dan. When you heard that fucking shit, you know The Crow's about to fuck somebody up. And like, it gets you in the mood, just like in Halloween, when you hear that, like, you know that Michael Myers is somewhere in the fucking vicinity. That you hear that sliding of the fucking piano. You know that Michael Myers is somewhere in it, and he's about to do some damage.
Yes,
and it tells a story, like, and it gets you pumped up. It gets you on the edge of your seat, like, oh shit! You hear, Jason is into what's going, and you're on the edge of your seat because you know at some point he's going to pop out.
Must happen, and the guy.
Yes, but The Crow did such a great job at that. I mean, The Crow. I mean, the soundtrack is an original soundtrack and score. But I'm telling you that I'm not even a 9 Inch Nails fan, but that dan, you hit that fucking guitar riff going on and the drums going on. You know The Crow is about to fuck up a bad guy.
Yes, but also in the movie The Shining, where the main theme is really 2-3 notes. But the atmosphere that create is incredible. Is terrified, and in my opinion, that kind of composing today is lost, because they go with I write some atmospheric, I put 2 sound with the sound design. But for me, soundtrack is really, really different. Must follow all the movie, all the story. In fact, I really love go also to the set where they shoot all the scenes, so I can see with my eyes in presence all happen. What happened during that scene, and it's really fantastic. That really.
Have you seen the movie Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah,
it's an 80s action movie. That movie, it was low budget, but by the music. I mean, that soundtrack was cheesy 80s music, but you knew from that soundtrack, you knew there was only like 4 songs played, right? It was no music. It was just song. And you knew when one of those songs was played, what is about to happen. If you heard ding, you knew that Chung-Li, the main bad guy, was about to come out and do something awful. You heard ding, ding, ding. That's somber music. That's, Frank Dukes getting sad. Something bad is about to, he's internalizing something. And then you hear that a fast beat. That means some fighting, some action, and you see that throughout the whole entire movie. And there's something about the 80s, and I've noticed it's been missing. It is the fucking soundtrack. It doesn't even have to have lyrics. That fucking beat, it just gets you fucking pumped up. It gets you fucking scared on your seat, like, or it gets you fucking pumped up, like, all right, somebody's about to kick some ass.
Yes, yes, I agree. In totally, but also Dario Argento use often that kind of them for to create atmosphere, like in Deep Red, the ta na 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 na.
Yes,
it's always repeating like like this. It's like
yes. Disturb you more than anything that you're about to see on screen. You get a creepy, an eerie fucking score or something, it can scare you more than anything you're about to figure on your screen. It actually intensifies the scare to me.
Yeah, yes, it's really. But today, all the music for the horror, I see that the majority use like sound design for to create some kind of situation. That is good. I really love sound design, but for me, the main them, it must be the first song, main them, cioè 4 note or 3 note or 5 note, but it's really, really important that the soundtrack has a point. Main them is the point of all soundtrack. Then, from that, we could write all the other songs connected to the main them.
Yes.
But I see that this kind of composing is not so used.
I agree.
When I watch some horror movie, I think, yes, it's a good music, but where is them? Is there, or is the sound? I'm confused.
Yes.
When I see Friday 13, Halloween, Nightmare, or also all the movie of Stuart Gordon from Reanimator and company, main is that you listen the first time and it remains in your mind. Today,
you can.
I'm disoriented. I'm disoriented from that kind of.
Because movies, like, you can play a certain beat or something, and people automatically identify that is Beverly Hills Cop. That is something. You know what I mean? And nowadays, movies just don't. Indie movies, big name movies, they don't have that song. And you can have a long range series, and there's no song or beat that makes you think of that movie. Now, one indie horror movie that I've seen recently. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of this movie, but I have to say something great about the score. It was an indie big name. They got a big release, and that's Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 is such a gritty, nasty, disgusting, gory indie movie. It's just dark and gritty. And they had this, and the thing they did, they had this techno synchronized music that was so gritty and disturbing. It was it was going on, and it fit. For some reason, it fit what was going on in that fucking movie, and it just made you uneasy.
Yeah, it's real. Today, I think that we must come back to the past. or also
Yes.
in the other movie for to find the right connection. Because I think that today we have a lot of stuff like instruments and software and VST, everything we want for composing moving we have, but the idea is lost. Too much stuff, but less idea in composing, in my opinion.
But doesn't every hero and doesn't every villain or horror movie character, don't they need their own little song? Like they need their song, like, you know, and like killers don't have their own song. Like killers used to have their own song, you know, it was dun, 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 Michael Myers, you know, you hear that, you know it's Michael Myers. And like it, and like you look at even like the Scream movies, Ghostface doesn't have a song. The Saw movies, Jigsaw doesn't have a song. Like they don't have their own song that, you know, you hear it and you know, they are in the area. Even action movies, like action heroes don't even have their own song anymore.
It's real. It's like music put for to create atmosphere, for to follow the scene. But there is the connection from the characters of the movie and the music. It's like it's like two separate things.
Yes.
And it's not so good for the cinema because it must be united, not hear music and hear the character. Story, character, FX, for me, must be all together for to create a project that is really, really good, like the past movie. Then I must also say that I see that there are a lot of a young director with a really, really good idea, but they don't have a budget for to put in production a movie. Sometimes happen that the director contact me, Alberto, we must write this new character, script, movie. Then after 1 year, they must block everything because they don't have money for the production.
Yeah.
And that is really not good for the cinema. And I angry because I see Hollywood that spend a lot of billions of dollars for to shoot a movie like Marvel and DC that I don't like. I can do.
I enjoy the movies.
But I don't like that kind of movie, and they cost million of dollars. It's.
But even if you watch a Marvel movie, which, you know, Marvel has its own. There's an atmosphere music that's played. You know something's about to happen, and I mean, this is me. I personally have known this in horror. Like I'm talking about big name Hollywood horror and indie horror. The composing and the score and the soundtrack is completely missing. It's completely missing, and that's something that's always been iconic and tied to horror. Is the soundtrack, the music, the score. That's always. I mean, it's a key element. This is coming from me, a horror watcher, guys. Listen. If you guys are filmmakers, you're making your shit for me to watch, right? For me to watch. I'm telling you, something is missing and I don't know if they don't feel like it's important, or like you said, but even the big name ones, they have the money to do it. So I can't say with them, but maybe with the indie horror filmmakers, the money is the key, and that's why they go to royalty free music, or they get their best friend who has a rock band to play in what's it called. It has nothing to do with the actual scene. It's just random music playing.
Yeah, it's it's the reality of the today director.
Yeah.
That sometimes they have scared also to contact an original composer because they think a minimum this guy ask 1,000, 2,000 and so. But I always say important is to speak. We can find a connection. We can find everything. If the project is good, I work. No problem if I take 100 or 1,000. No problem. Important is that the movie is good, and I really like the story.
Exactly. I mean, and that's amazing that you did that. By the way, any filmmakers you're looking for a good composer, please reach out to my guy Alberto.
Thank you very much,
Alberto. Where can we find you?
Allora, I have some social, Alberto Masoni, Instagram account and Facebook, and then you can find all my music for movie, but also for other projects, because I write also a soundtrack for musical and the theater show and everything about the live. So also on Spotify, YouTube, you can find everything on Alberto Masoni.
Listen, everyone, follow my man Alberto. Filmmakers, you're looking for
some director interested. Yes. I'm free to work. I don't need a big budget. I don't need. I only need a big idea. That yes, big idea, really strong team, and I can work without problem.
Indie horror for filmmakers, no excuse. Contact my man Alberto Masoni, and he will hook you up. Alberto, it's been a pleasure having you on, my friend.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Really, really thank you to you for the conversation. Sorry for the inconvenience of the Skype.
Listen, technology, right? Technology.
Technology.
I never had an interview that goes perfectly well from beginning to end. Something is usually the beginning. It's like a whole connection issue. It's like, oh, what the fuck? Technology. Well, everyone, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Yes, my friend.
Thank you.